Let's watch this video that Jeff Compton, the Jaded Mechanic of the Jaded Mechanic podcast.
Awesome podcast, by the way. Their editor is legit. He clicks some AI buttons, and then he goes, bloop.
Best editor out there. Right. All right, let's watch this video.
Okay.
And then tell me what you think. This is, I watched this and it was making my eye twitch and I was getting all amped up and turned the whole thing.
One of those, huh?
Oh, wait. I should probably share it. Hold on. I don't know what I'm doing. I just click buttons. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Hey, my name's JR, and I'm the guy that gets to talk to shops all day long, every day about what they want. And you know what every shop wants? More cars. That's by far the most important thing. It's probably the most important thing for you. So what would be the best way to do that? Well, we've got this package that we made to specifically answer this question called the Car Count Booster. It's catchy, right? It's literally the 3 things you need to do that will cover the majority of your inbound marketing, getting people to call the shop. It's having an outstanding customized website, having a really, really good Google advertising plan, and then also having a really good SEO plan. So these 3 things together are a really good way to make the phone ring. And not only that, but to get customers that are qualified. So this is our Car Count Booster package. I love it. It's very, very popular, and it's a wonderful way to feel confident about that inbound lead strategy. So if you want to talk more about it, we had scheduled a Discover call with me. I would love to meet with you, explain more about it, look at your shop, and see if we can work together.
Anybody ever have a mechanic that you've had for years and this whole time you thought they were taking really good care of you, but then you find out they were just screwing you over? They took your buddies on TikTok to let you know. I left the hair salon last week and my dash lit up like the 4th of July. My buddies on TikTok are like, hey, go to Advanced Auto Parts and have them scan it. They'll pull codes. Find out the codes. Okay, it's some kind of sensor on my transmission. Call my mechanic. They said it'll take you in next week. Limp the car over there. No problem. Drop it off. Next thing you know, he sends you an invoice for $927 for this sensor. $375 for the labor and $464 for the part for a grand total of like $927. I was supposed to meet my buddy Ryan here on TikTok. He's a mechanic. He works on race cars. He was in Charlotte. I was going to go meet him for dinner. I messaged Ryan. I'm like, hey, listen, I can't come meet you. My truck's not going to be ready. They ordered this part. And he's like, what did you get done to it? Tell him the whole story. Next thing you know, he sends me a screenshot that the part is $173. And this guy's charging me $464. Then Ryan explains to me it's like 2 bolts to swap out this part. So $375 is a little excessive. So I messaged the guy and say, I'm going to bring my own part. How much would it be for the labor? He tells me $450. So I'm frustrated. Ryan's frustrated. I said, hey, listen, you want to call the guy, tell him you're my boyfriend, and that you're out of town and ask him what he's doing to me right here? Ryan's like, send me his number. Go to pick up the truck today. And of course, they had a whole spiel and dance of how it wasn't as easy as 2 bolts, that it was fused in there and they had to heat it up and like some bullshit story. The whole time I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, wow, I've trusted you all these years thinking like you're taking care of me. And you have been screwing me for years. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be compensated for your skills and your time. I'm just saying to go from $375 in labor to $450 in labor because I brought my own part. That's not fair.
Oh my God.
By $75, that is the last $75 you'll ever get from me because I'm done. Anybody got a new mechanic they can recommend?
What a
the men
ass.
on TikTok that are helpful and navigate us single ladies through this shit. You guys are awesome. Thank you. So, yeah, I'm going shopping now.
She has been terribly ill-informed by a big dummy. Somebody who has a little bit of mechanical knowledge, a little bit of mechanical
He works on race
ability.
cars. What are you talking about? He knows everything. He works on race cars. All mechanics are the same. All mechanics are the same. It doesn't matter. I can tinker on cars. I know what I'm doing. I intimately understand the retail automotive repair business.
And that's the problem. Is they go out and they think I'm going to start an auto repair business. I'm a professional. I can fix cars. I know that's too expensive. Look at how these people are being gouged. But they're a bunch of idiots that don't know how to freaking run a business. That's why they go bankrupt. That's why they go out of business.
I don't know how to run a business either.
I don't either. I'm not saying I know how to run a business, but that's exactly what got me to where I was almost bankrupt, was because, such and such down the street charged more than that. That's not fair. They actually made money on them. But that's so stupid.
Okay, so there's a couple problems here.
Okay. What's the first one?
The price was not unreasonable for the part. So let's assume it's $180 cost on the part, and they were charging $460 or whatever. That's a decent markup. So they marked up the repair properly. What step was missing out of that whole exchange?
Well, I was curious. Did they get pre-authorization? That was my first question.
Because first step,
they sent an invoice.
Yeah. No. She said invoice, but it was like an estimate. This is how much it's going to cost to get your car.
I'm hopeful. Yeah.
And so the step that they missed was, let's do a preliminary assessment. Let's scan the car. I need testing time. Let's determine if this part has failed. Okay, let's make sure that we don't have wiring. Let's make sure that we don't have a wiring issue. Here's a picture of the car, of the sensor. It is a mound of rust. The sensor is bad. It's leaking. Here's an electrical signal. What we should be seeing, what we're seeing. We had a Ford Focus with a solenoid issue, and my tech had, it's like solenoid A and solenoid B on these Ford Focuses, and he had the known good and then the suspect one, and they were reading whatever. Anyway, so the customer could compare if they wanted to. They could see the two different wave patterns. But here's a bunch of information based on the evidence that we have collected, because you're compensating us to collect the evidence, to do the testing. We're going to recommend replacement of the sensor. The sensor replacement is now $150. It is $464 for the part, plus what you've paid us in testing. It's $900. There's your price. That's how the process should have gone. What did she get? I scanned the car at advance, so now I got a code. She drops it off there. Then they present her a out-the-door fixed price, which I guarantee you had some testing rolled into it, or they already performed the testing and were either going to close it or eat it. One of the two. I don't even know, because it didn't sound like they got any pre-authorization on testing.
Right, and not that we, from her explanation, that we would have enough information, right? And look,
if there were several phone calls back and forth that, hey, they wanted testing, and then I had to call them back and give them the okay, and the testing was $200, but now I don't understand, but they did some testing. In her mind, they were going to take out two bolts, pull the sensor out, put the new sensor in, put those two bolts back in, and the door and the car was fixed. And the testing, the diagnostic, was already taken care of by Advance. And that is not what happened here at all.
That you're exactly right.
Which caused all the confusion.
I look, and here's the thing. I don't even know that it's necessarily confusion. It's that the consumer thinks that any markup is egregious, right? And I've told people this before. If you come in, listen to me. If you will subscribe yourself to those who want a discount and who are always complaining about the price, and you lower your price because people complain about it, they will complain until you don't make anything, right? They will continue to complain until there is no profit, okay? Now, look, I kicked the hornet's nest, and I actually kicked the hornet's nest this morning. I didn't mean to. I was trying to start a little bit of a debate, and I upset some people. And it's one of the organizations that doesn't believe in testing, right? Get the car in. Get the car in. Get the car in. Now, look, I don't operate that way. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest here. When we moved into the new shop, I recognized that I needed more work than I needed before to feed the shop, right? Because we were moving faster. We moved more work through the shop. We got things done. And so there are times that I question, am I doing the right thing? Am I running the business the right way? My belief has always been, I'm going to be upfront. I'm going to tell them about what we're going to do. We need to do some testing to determine the cause of your concern. Once I do that testing, I'll be back in touch with you. I may have to do additional testing, or I may have to replace components. And I believe that's the most transparent and honest way to run one of these businesses. I think it's much, much more honest than trying to roll it all in together. Now, I upset some people because I was trying to debate this back and forth with a supposed industry expert, and he's a really smart guy. I'm not saying he's not smart when I say supposed, so I didn't mean it like that. But my point is that I go in and I start talking to them, and it's really clear that there are people who, even though I'm not saying like this is right or wrong, I'm saying I don't like this. I think this is what's got our industry into the condition it's in right now, right? Like the way that technicians are treated, the way the service advisors are treated. It's all about getting the cars in and out. Get the car here. We'll find one thing wrong with it to get them to keep it here. Then we'll do an inspection. We'll pick the things out of the inspection we think they'll buy. We'll sell the things out of that inspection, and we'll get approval on those. And there was a guy that replied, and he says, look, he tried to throw some mud my way, and I tried to debate that back with him a little bit. But, this place says they have a 98% close rate with $1,000 ARO.
95.
A lot of people say that, and until you see the numbers, like the actual numbers from the shop, it's hard to say. I question that a little bit, but I guess my point is this guy comes in and he says, well, these guys who are recommending testing and nickel and diming the client to death, they're the ones who are hurting the industry. They're the opposite of what we need for our industry. And as Mike Allen says, there's two ways to skin a cat, multiple ways to skin a cat. There's multiple ways to look at this. I think my frustration with that is that I feel that it's less transparent. Now, he claims, well, that I've seen this guy's DVIs. He takes videos. He takes pictures. He does all this stuff. Well, we do too. I don't understand how this guy gets off on saying, well, the other way is less transparent. I don't know, David. I mean, I just don't understand how they can say that it's more transparent to not tell the client that you need to do testing. Right? If I go to the doctor and I say, man, I'm not feeling so well, the doctor has a visit fee, right?
Hold on. They do the testing. So this sounds like Bill Nalu, like episode 25, maybe. Right. I'm going to look it up because I don't remember. Bill Nalu's on the podcast with Dutch and Scunny. Yeah. And his pitch was that when the customer calls me and says, I've got a problem with XYZ, I can't find the episode. Let me look. I've got a problem with XYZ. The customer doesn't care that there's going to be testing and that they've got a problem and they just want it fixed. And so what Bill Nalu argument as well. What Bill Nalu was saying is, I just come back and tell them your fixed vehicle is going to be $1,000.
Right.
And then they then say, oh, okay, go ahead and do it. And then that's it. He doesn't get into the meat of it. It's episode 25 and 26, by the way.
Okay.
He doesn't get into the meat of it. He doesn't get into, okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check for power and ground at the sensor. Then we're going to do a voltage drop test to the PCM. And then we're going to get a wave pattern from the sensor. And then we compare it to a known good. And then we're going to condemn the sensor. And then we're going to replace it. And then we're going to test drive it to determine that the problem is now fixed. And we're going to make sure the readiness monitors are back online. And to do all that is $1,000. He doesn't get into all that. He just says, hey, fixed vehicle, $1,000. And a lot of times they have already done the testing on there. And because they haven't gotten a pre-approval, they will eat it if the customer declines the repair for whatever reason. Okay.
So I wonder, does the technician eat it? Right? Because that's something I'm curious about. I'm sure in Bill's shop they do not, right? I wouldn't think that Bill would do that. I trust and really think the world of Bill. So this whole deal, right, left me with the question, am I doing it wrong? I would love to hear from our viewers. Am I doing it wrong by going that route? Because their thing is that the modern
in YouTube, it'll never get seen again. I don't know why you're pissing off the wrong people in the industry. We need these people because they have huge operations, $43 million operations. Do you know how many cars they're seeing? In 20 years, we're not going to see the same amount of cars that both you and I combined are going to see. In 20 years, they see that in 1 year. Okay.
But so that is to the people following them, to the people who listen and subscribe to this theory and this tactic, that means success. Right. And that's what I was thinking about as I was reading this guy's comment is I read some of the other followers, man, and you know who they are, right? Because you can see them liking and commenting on posts. And if I say something negative against that business model, they pile on, and I know exactly who they are. I know who they follow. I know the deal, right? Like, and that's okay. I'm all for them doing things their way. I don't want to say like my way is the only way. Do I think it has an impact on the industry long term? I do. I genuinely believe that it has a long term.
That's played out. There's no question.
Of course it has.
That's played out. Okay, so the business model that your Firestones and your NTBs and your Goodyears and that franchise business model, the tire store, pack the cars in, production shop, all front end work, brakes, like, and just banging out cars left and right with no regard to the skill and the nuance of diagnostic testing and maybe the intricacies of certain types of repairs. Because what happens a lot of times, they go to the local tire store to get a timing belt. They get halfway through the job and realize we shouldn't have taken this on. What do? Yep. They put it back together, or they tow it somewhere else. Hey, you got to take this to the dealer. Or they'll say up front, we're not taking this on. Yep. Now, in the mind of the consumer, they are putting that place on equal footing as everybody else.
Yeah.
They don't understand that, hey, that place is set up to do brakes, suspension, alignments, and tires. That's it. You are introducing something that they don't have the skill set, and the consumer does not understand it. Now, they are making a ton of money, and I'm making none. So they have something right.
Of course they have something right. I don't question that they have it right. But the point is making money doesn't make it right. Look, I question myself, right? Somebody, a really, really close friend of mine, Mike Allen, this morning, me and him almost got into an argument over this. And he's like, you're going against this the wrong way. You're looking at them. And he has a different goal and value for his shop, right? Like, the money thing wasn't my primary motivator. Right? Money's money, right? I don't really care. And so Mike's primary motivator, I want to say it's probably legacy, but it's very much money. I think in a lot of ways, it's about how much can I do? And it's not about how much money he has. It's about getting the more process, right? In my opinion, I think Mike is driven by that. Hey, I want to grow. I want to grow. I want to grow. And so Mike and I kind of had a heated discussion this morning that he thought I was wrong. And so that makes me question myself, right? When one of my close friends is like, hey, Lucas, I think you're wrong here. I'm absolutely going to question myself because I'm not always right by anything.
I tell you you're wrong all the time.
Yeah, but you're an
listen
idiot.
To any.
But so, I mean, I guess my point in saying all this is that like, is it right to not sell that? Is that what the consumer wants? Is it that the consumer just wants somebody to tell them what they want to hear? And you just fix their car and charge them. But in my mind, that's what leads to this lady doing this and the further decline in the value of the automotive industry.
100% that lady went to that type of shop. 100%. Hey, this is what's going to fix your car. It's $1,000. And what did she say? I've been going to this place for years, and I thought they were taking care of me. Yep. They were just doing what they've always done. They get the car in, they do some testing, they don't get any pre-approval, they send the estimate out and say, hey, when you come pick up the car, it's going to be $900. And then that's it. There's no discussion, there's no back and forth.
But to the person who owns that shop, they don't care. Right? This is empire building. They don't care if it affects their staff. They don't care if it affects the service advisor. And see, that's the reason that I never did it. That's the reason that I never looked at that. And like, I've been trying to figure out like what ideas and what things can I change in the shop to get car count up a little bit, to get revenue where it's supposed to be for this size shop and the number of employees we have. What adjustments do I need to make? How can I make things better? But I guess my point is like I've added in waiters and I've seen what it does to your staff, right? I've seen what it does to your service advisor. I've seen what it does for your tech.
It just creates anxiety.
It creates anxiety for everybody. It absolutely does.
There has to be a certain level of callousness from the staff to have somebody waiting in the lobby and them not give two flips. It's not, well, that's not a value judgment. It's just it is what it is.
Well, Michael Bird commented, the flat rate master. He commented because I posted something about this in our group Because I genuinely wanted to know, like, hey, do you guys think that maybe this suggestion's going the wrong direction and the other way is better for the industry in the long term? And Michael Berg replied to a comment that was in this thread about waiters, I think it was. And he says, the thing is they get these cars in. They tell the client, yeah, come on down. We'll get you in right now. Come on down. We'll get you in right now. Let's get you in. Let's get you in. They get the car in. They don't tell them about upfront testing. They don't tell them about anything. They get them in. They had no intentions of doing anything but a basic inspection while that client was there. They find the one thing that makes that car not able to leave. And then once they have the car, they don't care how long it takes. Now, the place we're talking about, you go read their reviews. The low reviews. That's not fair to do. I want to make that super clear. It's not fair just to read the low reviews because you need to look newest first. But if you look at the low reviews, what are the complaints revolving around? They had my car forever. They didn't tell me about this. They didn't tell me about that. My price changed, right? It was just like my car got there and my price just kept going up and up and up and up. And they kept calling me back and telling me more and more and more. And so that's what Michael was talking about. So he said they get in there, and as soon as the car gets there, he said, I worked for that shop that does that. They get the car there, and they hold it hostage. It doesn't matter if it's a week. It doesn't matter if it's 2 weeks. You just keep leading them on. You keep telling them whatever you want to hear because the purpose is not to serve the client. The purpose is not to fix the car. The purpose is to make money. And if that's your only purpose, then yeah, it works great. But is that how we're going to define success for ourselves? That's my problem with it. That's my problem is we're teaching a whole generation of shop owners. That's what success looks like. And to me, that's not success. And we're changing their values. We're changing their ethical standpoint based on the fact that we think money makes us successful. Money is what makes us a winner. No, it's not. That's bullcrap. Sorry. What?
It's so funny. I don't, there's no good solution here. I'll be honest with you. You are riding the fence.
Mm-hmm.
You are riding the fence. You are.
What do you mean?
With your shop. Your shop. You open this behemoth shop.
Yep.
With this giant bill, and you've got to pay for it. And you're having to do stuff that is outside of what you've had to do in the past.
Yep.
And you realize that I have to do it. I don't want to do it. Yep. But also, you're also driven to do more with what you got.
Absolutely.
And so,
and I recognize that there were a lot of things that I said I would never do. There were a lot of things that I told people I thought was the wrong thing for our industry and the wrong thing to do that I recognized why other people were doing it. Right? I'm not afraid to admit that I've been wrong in the past. I'm not afraid to admit that some of the things I saw as one way in the past is not how I see things now. And I think that's part of maturing. That's part of growing your business. You're going to see these shifts and these changes.
You say that, but so you got this much older guy who's probably, maybe almost twice your age, because you're a young guy. So you got he's been in the industry probably as long as you've been alive. And he has made lots of money, had tons of shops, had thousands of employees, and he's saying, this is what works.
Mm-hmm.
And you're coming back and saying it's not. It's not just that what it works. It's evil.
That's just it. It's like define works, because I'm not saying it doesn't work to make money. It's far superior to what we're doing to make money. But when somebody else jumps in and says, "Hey, what you're doing is actually destroying the industry. It's bad for the industry." That's not what the consumer wants. Man, that hurts a little bit.
Yeah, but he's
because
looking at it from,
I've based all of my beliefs on the fact that this is the direction we need to go. And every single time something like that happens, I question. I'm like, hey, am I right or wrong? I'm not unwilling to review my beliefs.
The mistake I think that he is making a mistake here in assuming that the consumer knows what they want. And because he is supplying them what they think they want, and they're coming in and they're buying it in droves, he thinks I've got something here.
Yeah.
And that may not be right. It's not necessarily what the consumer wants.
Yeah.
It's what the consumer needs.
Yeah.
Because you have you're trying to balance more than one consideration.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just
absolutely.
It's not just what does the consumer want, and we're going to only provide what the consumer wants. Because otherwise, what do you end up with? 7 days a week, 7 to 7 shifts. Yep. Everybody's on rotating shifts. You're going to pack in as many cars as possible. F the diag. You're going to give them one single price out the door. It is what it is. You're going to hold cars hostages. All of that.
If we upset 5 or 6 clients, we'll just pay them off. It's okay.
No, you're going to upset 5 to 7 clients out of 100. 90% of them aren't going to say anything, but they'll be ambivalent whether they were happy with your service or not. You're going to get maybe 10 of them in there that are, or 5 or 6 that are going to leave you reviews, and then you have 3 or 4 or whatever that are going to be really upset because it didn't work out. It didn't work out like this lady. It didn't work out with this lady.
Yeah.
She thinks she's getting screwed over. She thinks that's how all shops are, this one shop or whatever. Like, what I'm saying, and I think what you're trying to say, is that we have to balance more considerations than just what the consumer wants.
Yes.
We have to consider what's best for our staff, what's best for the consumer, what's best for the motoring public, and then what's best for the business, and what's best for the industry perception, the perception of the industry. Yes. So I have to do a good inspection, because if I'm just trying to get an inspection on 1 or 2 things, then just to be able to find something to then be able to sell them, that's going to leave a lot on the table. And if there's a dangerous situation or something that I'm just not recognizing because I'm not incentivizing my staff to look for that kind of stuff, I could get somebody on the road. I can't believe there's somebody at my door. You want to pause for a second?
Yeah.
I think it's a package from Dutch. It's because it said smoked meats. I'm not kidding. I got a giant package of smoked meats from Dutch. And so if you guys want to one-up Dutch and send me lots and lots of food items to my shop as a gift for all of the lovely YouTube videos we supply you, you can find me on the internet. You can send me all you want.
Okay. So he's replied to me. And
I like smoked salmon. I like.
He's replying. He said, "This is our process. We do not charge to inspect the customer's vehicle. We operate with very high standards of integrity, world-class service," in quotation marks. We have a 95% close ratio. Watch this video. You might understand why we're successful. Industry disruptors. And then he posts his link. And so for one, the buzzword industry disruptors is the most ridiculous. Like, please, don't, man. I'm sorry, I can't do it. And then he says,
say boomer disparagingly. Don't say that.
I'm not saying it like that. Take it out. I did not mean that. I'm sorry. But my point is then it says, keep doing it your way, with Jeff Barnes and Lucas Underwood in like a hashtag, right? I think he misunderstands what I'm trying to accomplish here. I would love to have a debate or a discussion with him about this.
Jeff Barnes is a mobile diag guy. What the hell is he? Does he even know? He doesn't even know who he's arguing with.
And then on top of that,
not. Like here's the thing. Here's the problem. Like he doesn't only understand. We're not doing it the way everybody's always done it, because otherwise we'd be flat rate. And the only thing we'd be doing a flat rate process. Find one thing. Call and get the initial price settled on. Then you're calling back 2 or 3 times to upsell.
Well,
present them with the whole invoice. Like, there's a process or a spiel, and they're like, "We're industry disruptors." Okay, what are you disrupting? We're open.
You're doing it the same way that ShopFix has done it. You're doing it the same way that Transformers has recommended doing it. You're doing it the same way that all the coaching companies,
except we're open 7 to 7.
Model have done it. There's nothing new about this, except you're working more hours and you're changing the pricing dynamic to sell more stuff. I mean, that's what's different. And so according to Mike,
we're misunderstanding. Yeah, but I don't know if Mike Wahlberg worked for this particular company.
No, he didn't. Okay. He didn't. I'm talking about Mike Allen. Mike Allen said that their benefit package is amazing. They treat their staff really well. They pay them very well. They have great, this particular chain of shops, right? So I'm not saying that at all. And I don't want to be disparaging. I'm not trying to be disparaging of the organization. What I was trying to do is start a conversation. I was curious. I said, my exact words, and maybe it was the way I started. I'm kind of grouchy in the morning. You know what I mean? Like before I've had my energy drink, you call me and I'm kind of like, nah. Well, maybe I was a little bit like that. But he said that, hey, you should do this. And I came back with a smart aleck comment. I probably should not have done that. But after that, I was more interested in starting a debate and discussing this, right? And understanding their perspective, understanding their side so I could get a grasp on it. The arrogance gets to me a little bit. We've got a 95% close rate over and over and over again, saying it over and over. Look how much money we make. Look how much money we make. Look how much money. I don't care.
That's a flex. Flex. But here's the thing. But again, he's looking at it saying we did $43 million. Therefore, what I am providing is what the consumer wants. Okay.
And he may be right about that.
No,
I'm saying he may be right that that's what the consumer wants, but it doesn't mean that's what the consumer needs.
Yes, they don't.
Doesn't mean it's what's right for the consumer.
It's not what's right for the consumer, and the consumer doesn't flip and know why, because otherwise, what's the number one selling vehicle in the country? What is it? The Ford F-150, the junkiest vehicle on the road. They sell millions of them. Why?
We're gonna get an email. We're gonna get an email.
No, what's the phrase? What's the quote from Henry Ford? If I'd asked what the consumer wanted, they would have gotten faster horses, or they would have asked for faster horses rather than the car.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. And he also said you can have any color truck you want as long as it's black, because black drives faster.
No, it's because they could produce them faster. They didn't have to make a whole bunch of different colors or whatever.
Well, that's true, but he also said that black paint dried faster. They had calculated the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
so that black paint would dry faster, so they did not care what color car you want as long as it was black.
But it's the mindset. It's the look. I understand at a base, at a more base level, at a more fundamental level, at a deeper level. What the consumer wants is a fixed vehicle, and they want to feel good about the process. They want to feel empowered by the process. That's actually what they want. Okay. Well, I feel that we're delivering in the way we do things with our fancy shopware software and integrated with the AutoFlow and send them all the pictures, and we have to get explicit approval. That's part of our pitch. We do not charge you a cent without your explicit approval upfront.
Right.
And so if there is upfront charges, we tell them, hey, we need to start at this much. There could be more. And we want to be super transparent, and we want to make sure we empower them and over-inform, because we want them informed in the process. Now, that may not appeal to certain people. And he might be going, well, the fat part of the bell curve, that 68% fat part of the bell curve, doesn't care. And therefore, I'm not, because they don't care, we're doing it the way we're doing it, and it's working. We have 95% close rate. We do $43 million a year. But here's the thing. I'm saying they should care. The 68% of the fat part of the bell curve never goes to the doctor. They have no idea that their cholesterol is through the roof. They don't know. They don't care. Right? Does that mean that's good for them? No. They need to know. They need to know so they can what? Take control of the situation and fix what they need to fix so they don't die of a heart attack at 55, right? He's saying they don't know, they don't care, so I keep shoveling Big Macs into their mouth because look how much money I make. And is that what's best for the person?
And see, that's my thing, right? Is because like I've got a lot of consumers who would prefer the other model from me. I've got a lot of consumers who don't want all the communication. I've got a lot of consumers who don't want me to make recommendations. I got a lot of consumers who want this to be like that.
A lot or a few?
It's a few, right? It's a few.
Yeah,
there's some. But my point is that there's some because they've been trained to appreciate that.
Here's the ones that don't want it. I would say the majority of them are freaked out and not used to it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I worry about unintended consequences. We've seen it from other shops. We've seen it in Washington, D.C., across the board, right? We make decisions, and those decisions have unintended consequences down the road. And the person making the decision often says, well, it benefited me, and, I got to watch out for me and mine, so sorry. Right? And that bothers me because you see, the money's not the motivator for me, right? It's money, it's paper. I'm interested in leaving a legacy. I'm interested in leaving a better industry behind than I came into. So if my son or daughter wants to take over the shop, they have something better. It's not what it was. I'm interested in leaving a better country behind. We talked the other day about the educators at the high school, right? Or not the high school, but the Board of Education. And one of the things that they were talking about was how there are so many school districts and so many people who have gone to this 50% passes deal, right? And it doesn't matter if the student deserves to pass or not. And then it's the parent's decision if they fail a grade or not now. And the thing is that's what they want, but it's not what's best for them. It's not what's best for the country in the long run. And I'm concerned that many of these operations, they sell this on the basis that you're going to make tons and tons of money. And that's always been my concern for that. It's none of my business what they do. I don't care. They get super upset. If you call out that business model, man, the people come out of the woodwork to hate you. Right. And I'm okay with that. They can hate me. I was genuinely not trying to be mean in my comments. I was trying to start a debate. I was trying to understand their perspective. I'm getting ready to leave him a message and say, hey, why don't you come on the show and talk about it?
Oh, that's going to be ugly. Oh, don't have him do that. Here's the thing. Well, most people are not, and I'm not saying that I don't know who this guy is, but I'm saying most people are not equipped to deal with hard pushback on what they believe to be true.
Yeah.
You're talking a tiny sliver of the population that is willing to have their beliefs, one, to put them out there, and two, have them scrutinized to the nth degree and taken apart and picked at and all that. And most people feel that if I believe this to be true and you attack it, it's a personal attack on me. You are now attacking my identity, who I am as a person. And they take it personally. They do not like it. Do not like it. Look at all the snide remarks I make about mobile diet guys. Then all the mobile diet guys come out in droves and they're like, yeah. Or when I make snide remarks about shop foremans and that shop foreman position is entirely superfluous and unnecessary in the automotive industry, you should see all the shop foremans that come out and what are you talking about? Yep. I am not attacking any individual person. And so this guy comes on. But they take it as
a personal attack.
They take it as a personal attack because that they believe this to be a true thing, and me challenging them is a problem. You say something about the education system. It floors me that Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence at the age of 33. And now I want you to think about that there were, a couple million people in the country at that time,
if
that. Yeah. But that tiny population of people was able to produce Alexander Hamilton, who was hella young too, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, John Quincy Adams. Look at all Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Paine. Look at all these people that these great minds that were able to come out of such a small pool of people. And now we have over 300 million people in the country. And the best we can get to is telling 33-year-olds not to eat the desiccant bags out of the beef jerky that they have to label them do not eat.
We've dumbed down the population, right? We have followed and it's a challenge, right? It's a challenge for me to think about this because the reality for me is the fact that we take a step back and we say, as Americans, we have freedoms and rights, right? It's a given. That's what being an American is. And it's a great country to live in. But we've complained and whined about things we don't like so much and so often that people have tried to fix everything. It reminds me of the shop management system argument, right? Well, I want this button over here, and then I want this button over here, and this software doesn't do this. Instead of learning and growing and spending the time to become proficient yourself, not depending on something like that to do everything for you, you just want somebody to make you a button. Just put that button up there. It took me forever to understand what you were talking about when you were saying that. It made us lazy. Not the button. I mean, maybe to a degree. But it's made Americans lazy because we can complain about whatever we want and somebody comes up with a solution. We come up with an advertisement to tell us about said solution. We criticize administrations. We criticize school leadership because a child got failed. A child didn't meet the standard, wasn't up to snuff. We criticize them and we make them change the rules. Man, I'll never forget, man. I really, it was probably one of the most upsetting things I've ever been through. When my daughter was in that spelling bee, she made it to third place. They had clearly stated the rules. She was out of 30 kids. She made it to third place. That's awesome. And we were outside and Alex was consoling her and telling her like, hey, it's going to be okay. And they come out and they apologize for her not following the rules. Don't apologize for not following the rules or for having rules they didn't follow. That's not how this works. You have to have accountability for yourself. That's what we're missing, right? And sometimes life is hard. We don't just get a button to fix everything. Get over your damn selves, you know? Dude, it's so upsetting.
I didn't mean to set you off on a tangent about Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, we have dumbed down the population.
We've dumbed down the population. We've given them every single excuse not to do what they need to do. We've given them every single, it goes back to that saying that hard times make strong men and strong men make good times and good times make weak men. That is exactly, we are square right in the middle of weak right now. I swear to God we are. Sorry. I apologize. A little spicy.
You still go back to the shop owner, dude from North Carolina. We're having a whole discussion, and I'm telling him, hey, that business model is set up to run this certain way, and it's a little skeezy, and you're gonna kind of screw your employees. And he goes, dude, I just want the boat. I just want the boat. Nope. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Get paid. I just want to get paid.
And that's the thing.
And here's the thing.
That's what they want.
And here's the thing. I don't care about legacy. I've told you this, that legacy doesn't matter because at the most you can hope for is becoming
is 2 generations.
2 generations, you'll become a plaque on the wall. That's it. The Lucas Underwood Institute for people who can't read good. The children who can't read good.
I don't even know that we're going to get, I think it'll be can't talk good. Okay.
It's a Zoolander joke. Come on. I shouldn't have to pull a reference up. Somebody will recognize that. Anyway, the best you can hope for is becoming a plaque. And then you'll be dead and gone, and nobody's going to give 2 flips of who you were. Okay. And even if you're Thomas Flippin' Jefferson, what do people do now? They just trample all over the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and they don't even recognize it, and it's whatever, right? People are going to do what they're going to do. So legacy is not a consideration for me. I have an obligation or responsibility to my family, to my children, right? Mm-hmm. And to myself, not to lose my soul in the process. That's what it is. And it's not that I don't care about the money. Like, I have to pay the bills. It's important. And I want to make sure
that's the extent of it for me, right?
The staff, my staff has to be paid, and all that has to be considered. But the reason why I don't go down this particular business model is not because I don't care about the money. The money would be nice. I do care about the money, though. I want the money. The money would be nice. What I cannot give up is my soul in the process. I cannot be okay being evil just to make the money. Does that make sense?
It does. But do you think that they don't believe they're being evil?
No.
They don't believe.
No. They recognize at some point, that line got bumped. That's it. Or they drew the line in the sand. Absolutely. They drew a line in the sand. The water came in, erased it.
And a coach stands up like they're God on high, and they say, "Oh, that's a really great. Here's the standards you should follow."
No. They just shift
standard.
No. They shift the value. They shift your values. You deserve this. You worked hard. Yep. Think of all the great things you're going to be able to do with that money. You're going to be a better steward of it than somebody else.
You're going to build churches.
You're going to be able to build churches. You're going to fly to third world countries, and you're going to build churches, schools, and you're going to help all these people with that money that you're going to make here. And so they go, you know what? He's right. I am going to build churches. I am going to be able to do these great things. I'm going to be able to provide for my staff a better life and better benefits than what did dude with this $100 million or 100 shops or 10? How many shops did he say he had? 10?
Who? Matt?
12? Matt. Yeah, Matt.
11? 14, yeah, going to 14 or something like that?
Matt said, the reason why I kept expanding was that every single time I expanded, I have now provided more people an opportunity to work within my company, and I believe I provide what my company provides is better than anybody else. And the more I expand, the more opportunity I give I can help more people that way. And so they think that might be true of Matt. I don't know, but I'm saying that these people, this person, this $43 million guy, he's thinking that it's okay. It's okay. And what I'm doing is maybe gray, maybe not gray, maybe they don't even see it gray. They're not balancing considerations. They're looking at the bank account and all I can do with that bank account, and what I have to do to get to that bank account is irrelevant. The market will decide. The market will decide.
All of these people that I have seen get to this point become wholly disconnected from that part of the business. They become disconnected from the client interface. They become disconnected to a degree from the service advisors. They become disconnected.
It's a metric.
Absolutely.
It's a number on the
So now
P&L.
we're standing way back here looking at it, and we think, right? And there were things that I remember thinking, oh man, I bet that would make a lot of money. And then I thought about if I was a service advisor and I was doing that was how we operated. How would that feel? I'm like, dude, that would suck.
Yeah.
Right? That would suck. And I've had to take some of those things on and had to start doing those things. You know, the guy that's calling me out over my numbers, this, that, and other. Listen, I have never once said I'm like an elite shop owner. I've never even said that I'm doing a good job as a shop owner. When we talk about changing the industry, what I'm talking about is I want the industry to be a better place to be in, right? I want people to be treated better. I want it to be a better experience for the clients, for the employees, and for the shop owners.
Getting what they need, not what they want.
Right. This is not, what they need. In my opinion, about me saying I'm a great shop owner and I'm making these dollars, but it shows, right? It's like you pull the veil back when they say things like that, because all of a sudden you see what their entire motivation is. It's money. It's all about money. And look, it's like a serial killer. You can't be friends with a serial killer and think they won't eventually turn on you, right? It's like the bears out back. Remember the dude in Alaska with the bears? Oh, they're my family. I love them. They're fantastic. They'll never attack me. Guess what happened? He got eaten by bears. Listen,
yeah, but how are they going to? I get the analogy, but like, what are they going to do? They're not going to turn on this guy. Like,
no, I'm not saying they're going to turn on this guy. I'm saying that if you work for a place like this, sooner or later you're just a number. Sooner or later you're out the door. And there's lots of these giant organizations like this. They're not going anywhere. We're not going to make them go away. It's not that I even want them to go away. It's just that I don't think they serve the purpose to our industry that I would hope to see our industry be served to.
When they make fun of the changing the industry name, when they tease it, they don't get it. I don't think they get it.
No.
I think they think they're changing the industry. Like you said, we're an industry disruptor. Because you work long hours? Like, I don't understand. We make
more money than anybody else.
Yeah, we're disrupting. Who cares? In that we bought everybody out in the area, and now everybody has to come to us. And we put our values on the wall. Like, and we paint them on the wall. There's a big mural of our values. Is that the disruption that we're talking about?
I guess.
We have the discussion. You got booted. You had to leave to go have some fantastic food. Me and Mike Allen sat and had a discussion about what it is that we want out of our shops. And one of the things that we talked about was I would love to be able to facilitate the purchase of real estate for my staff. You see what I'm saying? Like, I had this whole conversation with my service advisor. One of the technicians could, if he wanted to, he's got enough room in his budget that he could, within a few months, go put a down payment on a fourplex or a duplex or maybe even a single family home in the right area, and he doesn't even have to move in there himself.
Right, and just have it as revenue.
Just have it as a rental, and he doesn't need the revenue. He can take that money and just dump it back into the mortgage so he can build up some equity and then roll it into the next one. Yeah. That is a feasible plan for him right now. But he instead spends all his money on car parts, ridiculously expensive, stupid car parts for his hot rods. Okay. And my discussion with him was, I'd love to be able to have all of my people stop paying rent. If they're in a rental place, they instead move into a duplex, have the other person pay the rent for them, and all of a sudden they can take that money, they can roll it into something else. And they gave themselves a raise in essence, because they're no longer having to pay rent, and they're building equity, and therefore they're building wealth. Something like that. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, that'd be cool. And the point was that I can do that with 3 to 5 people working for me. The minute that I get to 10 or 15 or 30 or 100, it's out the window. That's no longer scalable. So what can I do? I have to dumb down all my benefits. And that benefits package that place might be offering might be fantastic, but I guarantee you it's conventional. I guarantee it's a 401k with company match, health insurance, dental, vision, I don't know what else, like paid time off, ample paid time off, maybe discounts on stuff. What's that place that won shop of the year or whatever? They had a borrowing program. You could borrow up to 2 paychecks or whatever and pay it off over a set amount of time. Those are the benefits that you can offer. Corporate benefits, the corporate benefit package that everybody offers out there. Yeah. Where I'm saying that if I'm small enough, I can be much more flexible, and I can use the money that comes into the building as a means to better the lives of 3 to 5 people and their families differently than say, hey, it's a really nice place to work. Does that make sense? Yeah. It does. That motivator, that's what I'm talking about when I say changing the industry. Yep. That's what I'm talking about. I am a small business owner. I own the flipping business. I can do whatever the hell I want with the money. The money that comes in, I need to pay the bills and after then pay my taxes. And after that, I can do whatever the hell I want with that money. Let's go hog wild and be really creative about what it is that I can do. Because it can turn into, if you know what the hell you're doing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But if you know what the hell you're doing, it can turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands of dollars that all of a sudden you've got that it doesn't have to be, I'm going to go buy a boat or 2 boats or a vacation home or 10 cars.
That's not changing the industry. That's changing your life.
Okay, but that's fine. You can have nice things. I'm not disparaging that.
Yeah,
again, that was my discussion with Matt. I'm not disparaging I'm going to get me some Jordans. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you've got use of that money to go do whatever it is that you want to do. And if you stay small enough, you have the flexibility to be able to do it. And you can make huge impacts in your community and the life of it without having to be skeezy and make your people work 7 to 7, 4 days a week and have these rotating shifts and, make all these service advisors sell in this very, hidden way and obfuscate the whole process to the consumer because they only want to know this end price and they don't care about how the sausage is made. No, they need to know. They need to know what went into the repair. They need to know what it goes into me buying the part. That's part of the process too. Me selecting the part. I buy hundreds of thousands of dollars of parts a year. Do you, Mr. Customer? No. Yeah, I know what fails and what doesn't. I know which one the best half shafts are because I've installed thousands of half shafts and I know what works and what doesn't.
I watched this video a while back and obviously, about the situation here in the shop in regards to this, but there was this video that was sent to me and it was about this woman and she was sitting in a hospital bed and it was clear that she was, unwell. And I think it's TikTok or whatever. And she says, I just found out I'm dying. And she's crying. And she says, I just found out I'm dying. And a palliative care nurse takes that reel and mixes it, right? And she said, it's really terrible that healthcare in the United States has got to this point. That this person could be on their deathbed and not realize how close they were to their deathbed when their providers knew that they were close to their deathbed. And that they likely would say, well, I'm just so busy. I have so many patients and it's hard to keep up with them all. Or she didn't really want to know that. She wasn't interested in that knowledge. That's their job, right? I go back to the frontline video I always talk about. That's their job to inform you. And I will never forget that woman walking out there to those folks in that hospital room and saying, I think you're going to be here with us, right? That was horrifying to think about having to be in that situation telling somebody that. But we have a responsibility as human beings to be honest and transparent with other human beings. Tell them the truth. And I think that's a value that's lost in this country in a big way.